Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. I'm Casey Durango of Go Keep with Casey, where I talk about how I lost 97.4 pounds after starting the ketogenic protocol, how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life like I did. And Jack is wandering around in the background, as you can possibly see. Now he's waiting at my feet for a treat because he knows when I stand here talking in to the device on Saturdays, there's a cookie. There you go. All righty. I hope you're all well. I am well. We are well. Jack and I are well. My lovely mate, I believe, is well. He's down in his native land, Colombia, South America, on an extended trip to do some things that need doing. Okay, today is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, depending on when you are viewing this. And where you are, that might mean, what do you mean it's Saturday after Thanksgiving? It just happens to be Saturday if you're in, Istanbul or New Zealand. But in the United States, it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, which is a large feast day that should should revolve around thanks and family, but it pretty much revolves around food. Poor old Jack wondering. So I wanted to do a little check-in. If anyone is even here, although I do see, hello, Kimberly Ford JC, I appreciate you being here. People might be shopping, they might be watching football, they might be otherwise engaged, they might be doing anything other than thinking about the ketogenic protocol. Don't blame you. But when we are, when I posted a little blurb about this upcoming live stream, when we're smack in the middle of the end of year food silly season, what do we do? Hopefully anyone hearing my voice has felt in charge of their food choices. Now, let's be clear. We're always in charge of our food choices. We can kid ourselves and say, "Oh, I can't. It's impossible." Last week I talked about the word irresistible maybe doesn't mean what we think it means. We are in charge of our food choices, but hopefully, even if there's been a recent food feast um, around you, you have exercised that control in a way that you're eating food that nourishes you and serves you well, and not eating food that does not serve you well. I hope Jack wandering in the background is not too distracting. I apologize if it is. Hopefully that's the way it went. Perhaps it didn't go quite as you had intended, and some little things snuck in there. Maybe you felt some, temptation or some pressure or whatever to eat some foods that don't serve you well. If it was more than that, and the tendency can be, because I know I lived this. I was obese and morbidly obese for 30 years, from my mid-20s to my mid-50s. You can go to my blog, link below, and look at read some of the stories. But, we can put our mindset into, oh, well, I blew it on Thanksgiving. I might as well just start over in January. And I know that I felt that way often, like every year. And then also during the summer and the spring. It's like, oh, I blew it. I'll just have to start over. Well, I put a little tagline, the oft repeated idea of, when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. If you find that you have eaten food that does not serve you well, that you did not intend to eat, and that happened to have been yesterday or the day before or 2 days before, that doesn't mean we need to continue that on. We don't have to continue on. We can stop digging. Hold, please. He Jackie's become very Jack. Oh no, he just laid down. Takes him a while. He has hip problems, so he just laid down with a thud. We can often think Monday's the day, or the first of next month, or after the holidays, or January. January will be here. We don't have to continue on. I do like to bring up analogies to other situations. Okay, say there has been an issue with household finances, personal finances, and you've worked hard to get those under control, and it can be difficult depending on the situation. So you get your debt paid down, and you maybe putting some money in savings, whatever you're doing, bit by bit. Well, you know, so then you go out and you see something you really like, and you make a decision that maybe is not the best, and you charge that, whatever it is, piece of clothing, a piece of jewelry, a houseware, whatever it might be. You say, I didn't intend to charge anything this year, this season, this month. Oh, well, I've already done it. Let's just go out to lunch, my treat. I'll put it on the card. Or let's continue shopping. It's retail therapy. And then before you know it, you're back to where you were, which was not your intention. It's the same thing with eating. We can stop eating. We can stop eating if we decided, if we made choices. I'm going to enjoy the sweet potato casserole with the marshmallows on top, and that was a decision, and you made it, and you're happy, and you're not at risk of falling off the cliff food-wise. Great. If you're at risk of falling off the cliff food-wise, step away from the cliff. Step back. So I've mixed metaphors there, cliffs and holes. We don't have to, and we also don't have to do what we've always done before. One year I decided to pull a George Costanza, and I decided to do the opposite of just about everything. And I did. That's how we got some chicks, baby chicks. We still have backyard chickens. That is how I came to learn how to put food by, to preserve strawberries from picked fresh. I'd never done anything like that. I did not grow up in a household with that kind of thing. I grew up in a household where my father managed to, on commission, put 7 kids through college, but he didn't know how to, switch out a light plate or barely a light bulb. My mother cooking was not her life, but she had 7 kids, so she cooked, minute rice, canned peas, meatloaf, applesauce. So I did the opposite one year. And that one thing led to another. That was about a year before I started the protocol. One thing led to another, but it did open my mind to doing the opposite. So just because I had always struggled during the holidays and was always heavier in January than I'd started out the previous January, did not mean that that was the way I needed to live the rest of my life. And thank goodness. When you're in a hole, stop digging. We don't have to do what we always did. We are not victims of food. Food, we are stronger than a cookie. Food is not the boss of us, no matter what we might want to tell ourselves, letting ourselves off the hook. You know, I think that we need to find a balance between giving ourselves some grace and holding our own feet to the fire. It's up to us. No one can make those food choices for us. Nobody. No one gets a vote. We can do it. If I can do this, you can do this. I promise. I promise. I am one of the most weak willed, lazy, indulged people ever. I just didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. I'd given up on losing weight. I figured it was my role. The universe wanted me to be the funny fat friend. But I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. Had cancer 3 times, I could deal with that. Lost body parts to it, I could deal with that. I did not want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. Googled how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes. Turns out the way it is you keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer, total, not net. Don't eat if you're not hungry, and stop eating when you've had enough. Sorry, I usually put that protocol in earlier. I forgot. And that's just kind of the message for today. The Saturday after Thanksgiving, leading in to more celebrations, secular, religious, and cultural celebrations. Almost all involve food. Whereas maybe that's not the way they started out, particularly the religious celebrations. You know, if you're celebrating Christmas, the 3 wise men did not bring Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks to the manger. If you're celebrating, you don't need me to go down the litany of stuff. You get what I'm saying. But we need to make our choices for our food. It's that it really boils down to that. You know, when I think every time I say that, I lose subscribers and followers. And I understand it. Heck, who wants to hear that? Much easier to hear, I've got a solution for you. And if you just buy this thing or inject this thing or follow exactly this food plan, it'll work. So, but that's not me. My message is keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer, total, not net. Don't eat if you're not hungry, which is the most challenging part. Stop eating when you've had enough. Second most challenging part. Be patient and persevere. Third most challenging part. Frankly, learning the food is easy. So, that's all I have to say on the subject. Well, probably not. I probably have more to say, and I probably will say. I'm a talker. All right, let me turn my attention. First of all, you do not have to purchase one thing to be 100% successful at the ketogenic protocol. Not a potion, not a supplement, not a powder, not an additive. It's not the amount of fat you put in your gob that matters. It's the carbs that you don't put in your gob. Nothing. And our bodies are the, don't let an app tell you what to eat. Our bodies, the original app. But I will sell you a book all day long. This is Casey's, Go Keto with Casey's 12-month record book. Journal, log, your diary of change. And it's got quotes and trackers and mood trackers and goal setting and adult coloring pages. And here's a quote from Dr. Seuss, which seems appropriate because the Grinch is everywhere. But this is not a quote from the Grinch. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. Profound, as most things Dr. Seuss wrote were profound in a simple way. And shirts and mugs and caps and water bottles and aprons linked below. Sell you those. And I really appreciate those of you who buy my stickers and my stuff. It makes me smile every time. Thank you. But you don't have to buy anything. Just lay off the carbs and have the strength of your convictions. It's okay. Now let me turn. Oh, and I have a private support group on patreon.com. I know some patrons are here. Really appreciate you. And there's a free trial. You can try it out for a week. If you like it, you stay. If you don't, you won't. $5 a month. You get every weekday Thursday morning, you get pre-recorded morning video snippets on a variety of topics. Just checking to see if my old man's checking in. Has anyone seen my husband here? I think he's not logged on. Anyway, going up from there, a handful of patron live streams on Crowdcast every month, and up from there, one-on-one chat with me. And beyond that, if you can subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, hit the notification icon, that helps too. And I love the heart floaties. Thank you very much, y'all. So now I'm going to jump into the comments. Kimberly 4JC writes, good morning. And K Kala AK, good morning from Utah. Oh, you are a traveling person. Black Fire Misty writes, good morning from Florida. And Terry Hubbard 1437, happy snowy morning. I thought about all of you during Thanksgiving Day. Thank you for helping me to remember my goals. This is what a support group, a support chat, and I consider these Saturday morning live streams support chats. They are not, I'm just going to say it. It's not a revenue stream for me. This is not a commercial endeavor. I consider this a public support chat because if this was easy to do, there would not be entire industries about it. I mean, huge industries. So I love to read that these people that are virtual strangers, there are virtual friends. They're literally strangers, but they are our virtual friends. Supporting each other. We all have more in common than we have that separates us. And there's some common themes. And everyone's situation is a little bit different. But the challenges we face can be very similar. Catherine Fair, 1657. Hey, Kathy, good morning. 7 a.m. in Washington State. Turkey for breakfast. I love that. Okay, I've had people write to me, say, I would really like to try this, but I don't like eggs. Okay, don't eat eggs. Have turkey for breakfast. Have a pork chop. Or you don't have to have breakfast. Well, it's just called, I'm not going to get into the whole etymology of the word. Hey, SL Ramsey 76401. Can see and hear you. Thank you. You've changed your handle. Pittsburgh Gal also changed a handle. Sunny and cold, Christina Polischik. Doxan Gal 4391. Good morning, all. And Anita Silver, having a difficult time with foods my husband keeps in the fridge during the holidays. Winter squash, cranberries, and heavy cream, they call me. Yeah, okay. So y'all, do we have some suggestions for Anita? Well, the heavy cream, that's okay. And cranberries, if you make, I've made since doing this, when we've had family gatherings, we didn't have one this year. My husband's out of the country. I've made cranberry relish or cranberry sauce with cranberries, simmered them, used non-sugar sweetener, and some, lime juice. And that was just lovely. And if you put some heavy cream in there, you can kind of make that good. You might try that. Leave off the winter squash. Although, that's not too bad. Roast it up. I mean, I don't really find a problem with winter squash. Just limit, for those of you who don't know, it's fatty sources of protein, limited amounts. Fatty source, what does that mean? Eat the fat that comes with the poultry or the pork or the beef or the whatever. Limited amounts of non-starchy vegetables. So about a cup before cooking of non-starchy vegetables and about 2 cups a day maximum of leafy greens. You don't have to eat the vegetables, but there's nothing wrong with that I would say. Roast them up with some drizz of olive oil and maybe some crispy bacon. That would be good. Kimberly 4JC writes, how was your Thanksgiving, Casey? I'll admit, it was long. It was quiet. I got a little bit lonely. I had not heard from my lovely mate all day, and so we had a conversation about that. late in the evening, but it was okay. I lead a quiet, small life, and I'm okay with that. Me and Jack, old Jack. If Jack wasn't so infirm, I would be in Colombia with my husband, but I'm not. I just couldn't see leaving him. I couldn't see boarding him. It took a lot out of Jack when we did that in the spring. But I had a lovely time. No special food. It's just, it's just I've done all that stuff. We've been married 45 years, and Thanksgiving, our first Thanksgiving was 2 weeks after we got married. We lived in Boston in the world's most expensive one-bedroom apartment. And I made a big turkey. And ever since, we've had Thanksgiving feasts. The kids came along, and then they were little, and then they were middle, and then they started have guests that joined them, and then we had more, and then my mother moved in with us. We've had a lot of Thanksgiving feasts. That was fun, having mine quiet. I like my quiet life. Kimberly 4JC writes, I also think of these Saturday Lives a support meeting. Thank you for doing them. They've been very helpful. I appreciate that. Rebecca King Cortez. Hey, doll. Thank you all. You do, and keep doing. You are the best. One of my forever heroes, sending you so much love and gratitude. Hugs and kisses. Thank you, Rebecca. How are you doing? It's been a long time, I know, and I know things have happened. There are things that happen in our lives. It's rare. It's rare the day that something doesn't happen. Something, tiny thing, big thing, wonderful thing, horrible thing. That's why people say, well, I was doing great and then life came at me. Life comes at us. It always does. It's relentless. It's what life is. Naja Newhall 3403 writes, good morning, Casey. And I have to adjust my screen a little bit. I do apologize. Avocado little. I make cranberry sauce with allulose that is wonderful with my turkey. So we can be a little bit creative. Cranberries are not sweet. They're the opposite. They're tart, right? And again, you kind of limit them. You don't, but I made it. So there would, let me see, after we were doing keto, we had family and I would maybe make a prime rib, standing prime rib, the easiest thing in the world to cook, by the way. Very impressive. I'm almost sure I made a video about it. And it's the easiest food you will ever cook. The hardest part about it is affording it. So it's an investment. But a prime rib or turkey or Cornish game hens or a deep fried duck or whatever. We've made a lot of things. And then I would make mashed cauliflower, usually with some cream cheese when I'm whipping it up. But I have to make sure I limit it because I'll overeat it. Roasted vegetables, everything from, well, probably some kind of squash, Brussels sprouts, onions, just not sweet vegetables, not sweet potatoes, not carrots. As a rule, it's not 100%, but rule of thumb, if it grows below the ground, it's higher in carbs. Why? Because its job, the carrot, the sweet potato, the potato, is to gather starch and sugar as nourishment for the greens that grow above the ground. Anyway, some roasted non-starchy vegetables. Everyone's happy. And I made the cranberry relish or sauce, or whatever you want to call it. Anita Silver writes, these foods are all addictive for me. Okay, I'm going to wag my finger. I think that A word is misused and overused. If you've ever known someone who's actually dependent on a substance and seen them in actual withdrawal, no. We like them. I eat them. I have to be careful about what I eat as far as mashed cauliflower, because keep in mind, the protocol calls for a cup maximum of non-starchy vegetables before they're cooked. So how much is a cup of cauliflower, raw cauliflower? It's not much. And you translate that into mashed cauliflower, it's not much. So I just have to be careful with it. Linda Bridges 445. Good morning from Tejas, and Rebecca King Cortez. Like you, I have an elderly affirmed dog and am living a quiet life as well. You continue to be such a real and relatable soul to connect with. Again, love and appreciate you mucho, mucho. Thank you very much. I appreciate the words. And Rebecca writes, "You were just what my heart needed this morning." And Linda Bridges, "Do you have leftover turkey soup recipe?" Do I? No. But, soup is just, how soup came to be. Is people stretching their, before you could just buy or have delivered or go to the gas station and get any kind of food you wanted, people had to stretch their food. So you have something, you add a bunch of water to it, maybe some seasonings. If you have an onion, throw it in. Just cut up turkey, some broth. If you don't have actual broth, you can season it up. People lived and enjoyed food long before there was, boxed bone broth. We can figure it out. And non-starchy vegetables. Let me see. What would I put? Onion, probably. I might chop up some green beans. I might throw some broccoli in there. And by the way, we've gotten to the point where I haven't eaten honestly, on other than cocktail onions and a Gibson martini that I have like once a week. I haven't had a vegetable since my husband's been gone. He's been gone for over 6 weeks. But we have vegetables in the house. We buy frozen vegetables. Yes, frozen vegetables, preferably in the steam bag. That's great. Making soup, you just throw the frozen broccoli in there. Yum. Thank you for taking my question. Of course, Anita, I am happy to do so. Okay, so I want to get back. Oh, my hair, for goodness sake. I want to get back to reminding the point of this. Okay, hopefully we did what we wanted to do. Hopefully we accomplished food-wise what we wanted to over the last several days. And frankly, if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, it doesn't matter. It can still be, I want to do what I wanted to do over the last several days. Because, there are McDonald's in hospital lobbies. All right. We're surrounded. We have to make those decisions. If our decision is to eat food, that's our decision. It's not a crime. It's not a sin. It's a it's a it's a decision about eating food. But if there was a strumble in there, which is a mashup of the word stumble and struggle, don't say, well, I've blown it. I'll try again starting in January. Do that if you wish. There are many paths to the same destination. If your path is being vegan, vegetarian, move more, eat less, following some plan, great. For me, I have to keep my carbs low. And it's not a challenge. It's just I don't even want that stuff, honestly. There are a couple of foods, actually they're foods from my husband's native land that I really like. But I just have to not eat them. But foods that I thought I couldn't give up are a non-issue for me. Tortilla chips, M&Ms, uh 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 well, you name it. Pretzels, but the tortilla chips and the M&Ms were big. They loomed large. Now I don't care. I never thought that would happen. This is a different way of doing things. I'm burning fat for fuel. It has suppressed my appetite. I have lost weight and I'm out of the habit of eating the carbs. I'm out of the habit of eating out of habit. I think I made a postcard that said that. I think I did. I'm going to log off. I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for supporting each other. I hope to see you next Saturday. God willing, if the creek don't rise. And Blackfire Misty writes, thank you, Casey. Take care, everyone. And you can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. Thanks for allowing me to be part of your day. TTFN.